I didn't think a pair of glasses could feel like hope, but watching my 7-year-old son, Noah, blink up at the world with brand new lenses, his eyes widening like he was seeing color for the first time, I felt something warm crack open inside me. The optometrist had adjusted the frames carefully on his tiny nose, and when Noah whispered, "Mom, I can see the leaves," my throat tightened. He didn't mean just the tree. He meant life. For months, he'd been squinting at books, leaning too close to the TV, stumbling over steps. But every time I tried bringing it up at home, my parents brushed it off. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video. "He's dramatic," my mom would say. "He's copying other kids," my dad insisted. But Noah wasn't copying anyone. He simply couldn't see. So I saved for months, skipping lunches, taking extra shifts, walking to work instead of taking buses, until I finally had enough for the exam and the glasses. When Noah held the black case against his chest with both hands, he whispered, "Do I look smart now, Mom?" "You always were," I said. I should have taken him somewhere safe afterward, but my parents had demanded we attend a family lunch that afternoon. They didn't ask, they summoned, and I knew if I didn't show up, they would punish me and Noah for weeks. So I drove us to their house, praying they'd be too distracted by their own cruelty to notice the glasses. When we stepped through the door, my mom's eyes immediately narrowed. She didn't say hi. She didn't smile at Noah. She stalked straight toward him like he was a problem she'd been waiting to solve. "What's that on his face?" she demanded. I kept my voice steady. "They're his new glasses. He needs them. She grabbed Noah's chin so fast he flinched. "You look ridiculous," she snapped at him. "Take them off." Noah's little hands moved instinctively to protect the frames. "Grandma, I like them. I can see now." Dad walked in from the kitchen and barked out a laugh. "Figures. Her kid needs gadgets to function. Weakness runs in that branch." My nephew Tyler, 10 years old, spoiled down to the bones, ran over with a toy car in his hand. "What's wrong with his face?" he asked loudly. Noah shrank behind my leg. "He's wearing glasses," I said. "That's all?" Mom's lip curled. "Glasses. You think you're rich now? Buying useless things? Trash doesn't need vision." Dad smirked. "Put the money toward rent. Or better yet, give it to your sister. At least she invests in real family." Before I could step in, before I could breathe, my mom reached forward with lightning speed. She ripped the glasses off Noah's face. "No!" Noah cried, hands clawing at the air where his glasses had been. I grabbed her wrist, but she was already doing it. The snap echoed through the room like a bone. "Breaking!" She broke them in half, clean down the middle. 2 pieces dangling from her fingers like something she'd killed. Noah froze. His mouth trembled. His eyes filled instantly. Not because of the shock, but because the world had gone blurry again. "Mom!" I screamed. "What the hell is wrong with you? Those cost—" "Don't raise your voice," Mom hissed. "This house has rules." Dad stepped closer, towering over Noah. "He doesn't need glasses. What he needs is discipline. Maybe now he'll stop whining like he's special." Noah's breaths turned fast and shallow. His little hand reached blindly for mine, but my mother shoved me back with her shoulder. Then she knelt down in front of Tyler and dropped the broken pieces into his hands. "There," she said with a smile. "New toys, better use for them." Tyler laughed and pretended the bent metal pieces were swords. "Cool, I'm gonna stab the couch with these." Noah let out a sound I'd never heard from him before, a choking, quiet sob that he tried to swallow. He wiped his face with his sleeve, embarrassed to cry in front of them. He stared at the floor because he couldn't see anything else. Mom nudged him with her foot. "Stop crying. Nobody feels sorry for you." Dad added, "Be grateful she didn't break anything else." Noah pressed his palms over his eyes. "Mom, why can't I see anymore?" His voice cracked. "I liked seeing the leaves." That was it. Something in me splintered painfully and permanently. I stepped between him and the people who claimed to love us. "Give me the pieces," I said through clenched teeth. Mom laughed in my face. Why? So you can tape them like the pathetic little patch job you are? Dad scoffed. You spoil him. You're raising him weak. Then he leaned down, grabbed my chin the same way Mom had grabbed Noah's, and whispered, You don't get to buy things we don't approve of. You don't get to make choices. You don't get to pretend you matter. I jerked away, heartbeat pounding in my ears. They had Noah crying. They had broken the one thing that gave him clarity. They had laughed while doing it, and they thought the story ended right there. They were wrong, because I wasn't breaking, not this time. Not after seeing Noah squint at me like he was reaching for a world someone stole from him. My voice came out cold. You will regret this. Mom rolled her eyes. Oh, please, you don't have the guts. Dad smirked. You? Do something? Don't make us laugh. But they weren't laughing when I grabbed Noah's trembling hand and pulled him close. There was no going back. Not after what they did to him. Not after the way he whispered, Mommy, why do they hate me? Not after the moment they snapped something more important than glasses. They snapped the last piece of forgiveness I had left. I drove home with Noah in the back seat, curled up against the window, his eyes squinting at every blurry shape passing by. He kept wiping at his face, trying to pretend he wasn't crying, trying to stay quiet like he always did when my parents hurt him. About halfway home, he whispered, Mom, did I do something bad? My grip on the steering wheel tightened hard enough to hurt. No, baby, you didn't do anything wrong. Then why did Grandma break them? His voice cracked. I tried so hard to be good. I swallowed around the ache in my throat. They're wrong, Noah, not you. But he didn't answer. He just curled into himself, holding the empty glasses case like it was a wounded animal. At home, he walked into his room without me telling him to. He sat on the bed, right on the edge, hands in his lap, staring at nothing. I could see him struggling to keep still, because without the glasses, the world tilted and swayed. He whispered again, I liked seeing the leaves. His voice was so small it nearly crushed me. That night, I heated dinner, but he barely touched his food. He kept saying his head hurt from squinting. When he finally fell asleep, it was with his face pressed into my shirt, as if hiding would make the world clearer again. I stayed awake long after he drifted off. My phone kept buzzing on the counter. Mom. Hope you're not crying. Pathetic. Dad. Don't buy him anything without asking us again. Tyler's mother, my sister Monica. Thanks for the toys. Tyler loves them. You owe Mom new glasses if you care so much. Mom again. Bring Noah tomorrow. I'll teach him to stop acting blind. I turned the phone face down. Hours later, I walked into the bathroom and stared at myself in the mirror. My eyes looked sunken, my jaw tight. I splashed cold water on my face, but it didn't wash away the truth. They weren't just hurting me. They were rewriting who Noah thought he was. If I didn't stop them, he'd grow up believing blindness was his fault, that glasses were a luxury he didn't deserve, that he wasn't allowed to see clearly. And that was the moment I realized something so sharp, it felt like a blade against my ribs. This wasn't about glasses. This was about power. They broke them because Noah having something helpful meant I had made a decision without their permission. They broke them because they thought hurting him was a way to hurt me deeper. They broke them because they believed we were still under their control, but they weren't done. The next morning, I woke up to more messages. Mom, come early. Tyler wants more toys. Dad, and don't pull that attitude from yesterday. We're your parents. Act like it. Mom, you should thank us for correcting Noah. He needs it. Correction. That's what they called breaking a child. I felt a cold pressure settle in my chest. I didn't take Noah over. Instead, I made a doctor's appointment to check his eyes again and made sure the visit was documented. I took photos of the broken glasses. I saved every message, every insult, every threat, every demand. Not to post, not to expose, not for sympathy, for proof. Because I finally understood something I should have realized years ago. My parents would keep hurting Noah until something stopped them. Until I stopped them. That afternoon, when I sat beside Noah on his bed, he looked up at me and asked, "Mom, can I get new glasses, please? I'll hide them so Grandma won't see." The sentence stabbed me. "You won't hide anything," I said softly. "You won't be scared of them anymore?" "But she'll get mad," he whispered. "I don't care." Noah blinked, confused. "What do you mean?" I brushed his hair gently. "I'm done letting them do this to you." His lip trembled. "Are we going back there?" "No," I said. He leaned into me slowly, testing if I meant it. "Not ever?" I pulled him close. "Not ever." But as much as I wanted that to be true instantly, I knew my parents would come looking. They always did. Their control was oxygen. They couldn't survive without it. I needed something solid, something permanent, something legal, something undeniable, something that would make them step back so hard they'd fall on their own twisted cruelty. And I was ready, because they thought breaking glasses was the end of the story. But it was the beginning. I looked at the broken frames on my kitchen table. Twisted metal, cracked lenses, the last thing Noah held with joy before they tore it away. And I felt the final switch flip inside me. I wasn't crying anymore. I wasn't scared. I was planning. And this time, the plan wasn't to survive them. It was to end their access to us altogether. The next morning, I woke up before Noah and packed a small bag. His birth certificate, medical files, the photos of his broken glasses, and every message my parents had sent. I didn't wake him until it was time to go. "Where are we going?" he asked sleepily. "To fix everything," I said. And we did. The clinic re-examined Noah and confirmed not only his vision loss, but also that the broken glasses could cause headaches, balance issues, and strain. The doctor frowned when I showed him the snapped frames. "Someone did this intentionally?" he asked. "Yes." He wrote a formal incident note and attached it to Noah's file. That mattered. Next, we went to the police station, not for a dramatic arrest, not for a scene, but to file a non-emergency child endangerment report and request that my parents be legally restricted from unsupervised contact. I presented the messages where they called him trash, demanded he be brought back so they could correct him, and bragged about breaking the glasses. The officer didn't look amused. "This is enough to start a case," he said. "You did the right thing?" I didn't feel powerful, not yet, but I felt steady. After that, I went somewhere my parents never expected me to. Step foot in. A lawyer's office. A quiet woman with silver glasses and a calm voice read everything. Every insult, every threat, every photo, every broken piece of Noah's world. And she closed the folder slowly. "You have enough here to file for legal restrictions, harassment protections, and full parental autonomy," she said. "Your parents will not be allowed near your son without consequences." That was when the fear broke. Not mine. Theirs. Because the next day, when I refused to bring Noah over, the doorbell exploded with angry ringing. My parents shoved their way onto the porch, red-faced and furious. Tyler and my sister stood behind them. Mom banged on the door. "Open this! Now!" Dad yelled, "You think you can keep our grandson from us?" I stepped outside, but this time Noah stayed safely behind me, holding the new glasses the clinic had rushed for him. "You don't get access to him anymore," I said. "Legally." They froze. "What do you mean, legally?" Dad demanded. I handed him the official notice, the temporary protective order, the police record, and the lawyer's letter stating all contact must go through legal channels. Mom snatched the papers and skimmed them, her face drained of color. You filed this against U.S.?" "Yes," I said, "for breaking his glasses, for endangering him, for harassing us, for emotional harm." Tyler's mom, my sister, scoffed. "You're overreacting." I pointed at Noah inside the window, holding his new glasses with shaking hands. "Tell him that." Dad's voice cracked with something I had never heard before. Fear. "Undo this. Fix this. We didn't mean—" "You meant every word," I said. "And now it's documented." Mom stepped closer, voice trembling with panic. Maya, please, we're family. No, I said quietly. Family doesn't do what you did. She reached for my arm, but I stepped back. You lost access, I said. You lost control, and you lost us. Dad's jaw tightened. You think you're strong now? You think you can survive without us? I already am. I shut the door before they could answer. They stayed outside for 10 more minutes, knocking, arguing, begging, trying to negotiate. But the law was louder than their entitlement. Eventually, they left. That night, Noah sat beside me on the couch, wearing his new glasses, looking around the living room like it was the first time he'd ever seen it clearly. Mom, he whispered, are they coming back? No, I said, not anymore. He slid closer to me, resting his head on my shoulder. I can see the leaves again. I kissed his forehead. And no one will ever take that from you again. Behind those words wasn't poetry, just truth, just safety, just an ending they could never undo. My parents didn't just lose the right to break his glasses, they lost the right to break anything in our lives ever again. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video.